Hey guys, what is up? Thank you so much for being here as always. Um, I thought that last night's episode was incredible. Of course, pretty much every episode of this series is amazing, and the incident that happened last night completely shocked me, and I don't think any of us called it because I remember specifically having a conversation about Doug's girlfriend, and we all felt sorry for her. I think we thought she was his wife, but she's actually just his girlfriend. But I don't feel sorry for her at all anymore. But I just want to shout out those of you who are here, and if you haven't said hey yet, you should do that so I can say hey to you. But hello to Mark, Marge, Tony, Brittany, and if you are here and you haven't said hey, then say hey. And I see that some of you guys are talking about Castle in the comments, and that's a show that I don't watch, but I'm really sorry for those of you who are huge fans about the main actress getting fired. That's terrible. I'm really sorry about that. But I want to talk about the family, and what did you guys think about Doug's girlfriend, Jane? I literally freaked out when the scene happened with her attacking the detective. I was so shocked. Honestly, I thought when she went away to like turn off the oven or whatever she said, turn off the stove, that she was just going to run away. I did not expect her to attack the detective. So I want to see what you guys think about it. And hi, King. Thank you so much for being here. To me, that was a great episode and a great scene because they fooled me completely. And I love a show that I can't really figure out. And when they do something phenomenal like that. I don't remember you calling it. I'm sorry if some of you guys called it that you thought that Jane was suspicious, because I don't remember that at all. So if I missed that in one of our chats, I'm really sorry. Hi, Anna. Thank you for being here. Mark says that he gasped when she killed the detective. So happy that Doug was going to be caught, but then so angry when she killed him. Yes, I was so happy because I was like, oh my gosh, this guy has figured it out. You know, he linked the dog, and, you know, now it's obvious that Jane knows that something's not right, and she admitted he was at the mall. And, yeah, I was like, this is great, because I didn't think that they would catch him like in that episode, but I thought, hey, they're probably going to catch him this season, so I don't know. Yeah, I know, as Marge says, we haven't seen a body yet. I guess we're under the assumption that he's dead, but he could be somewhere. They might be keeping him like, you know, Doug kept the boys. I don't know. Hi, I think, is it Brianna? Hi, thank you so much for being here. Yes, so by her doing that, it's very, very stupid. I guess that she felt she had no other way out, considering she actually knew what Doug had been doing in the past. Now, I don't know if she knew specifically about Adam and Ben, but she knew he was a child molester, which very confused about her, and obviously have zero respect for her now, because why are you still with this guy? Also confused as to why she's pregnant with this guy's baby. I don't know. Maybe he likes girls and little boys. I have no idea. Women and little boys. I don't know. But very strange. So I consider her just as much of a criminal as he is, because she's covering up for his crimes. I'm not sure how much of it she knows, but she obviously knows. So I look at her completely different now. Mark says Doug and Jane both have to die. Hate them both now. Absolutely. And by her doing this, she's, you know, destroyed her future. I mean, it would be bad enough that she was helping Doug cover up crimes, but if she killed this guy especially, you know, she's going to go to jail for life, or she'll probably end up dead in some way or somehow. Now, Anna's asking, are we sure he's really dead? And we aren't. We really aren't. She may have knocked him out, and she was just cleaning off the blood. It seemed like a lot of blood there, which I also thought was a great scene as she's scrubbing the pan. And you might think she's scrubbing a pan that she used for cooking, but she's actually still cleaning up the blood off of it. So I thought that was really cool, yet creepy. So we don't know if maybe they're keeping him somewhere, if he's knocked out and they're going to keep him somewhere, which is even crazier. Who knows? Right. Will he find Adam's body? Anna asked. That's a really good question. So who knows? And I was still hoping that Adam's alive, but I guess Jenna Bans, who created the show, says he's definitely not alive, which makes me sad, but you know. So Marge says that Jane turned on survivor mode. She had no idea he took Adam, and it was a choice she had to make between justice and the future of her baby, which is screwed. Anyway, yeah, I still can't feel sorry for her at all, you know. Right, you know, and she hit him in the head. So, you know, I think a lot of people on Twitter assumed that he died, and it kind of like they wanted you to think that, but there's a chance he's not dead, which would be great. However, not so good for him, I guess, just because he's probably going to be tortured, or who knows what his future is for a little while at least. I thought there were some other really powerful scenes in this episode, especially dealing with Claire and Ben and Claire and Hank. The fact that Hank pretty much told Claire off and said that she was a bad mom, you know, hey, I thought that was kind of valid, even though he's kind of creepy. I think he's telling the truth. I don't think he ever hurt Adam. And then when she walked over to thank him, and when she talked to Ben and realized, you know, she wanted to kick Ben out, but then Ben was able to tell her a lot about her son that she didn't know, and they had this great bonding moment. It's still a screwed up situation there because I don't know why he's so insistent on pretending to be Adam, but I guess it's that he really wants a family and wants to be accepted. So the house that he was going to, the way that I understood that is that he was kind of what I think is he was a foster kid, because if you look at the pictures at that house, it looked like different, you know, kids from different backgrounds, ethnicities, and a ton of different pictures of kids. So I feel like he was living in a foster home, and I think the dog was actually alive when he was a kid, and the dog remembered him. Now, I don't understand why he's able to go there in the middle of the night. I don't know if he knows they're on vacation or something, because I feel like somebody would hear him, you know, they would realize that he was in their house. So I don't know how he's able to go there all the time, but I think that Ben is probably not a bad kid. And he was a foster kid. I also think we can connect some dots about how Doug knew Adam, because he was as we know, he does woodworking, and he did woodworking at Hank's house. And I think that's how he spotted Adam. He may have been over there, Adam and him in the same house, you know, because Adam spent a lot of time at Hank's. So I don't think that that means Hank and Doug worked together to kidnap kids or anything. Could be wrong, though. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? So Brianna says maybe because Jane knew about Doug, she was the one who helped him out of the hole that Ben trapped him in. That's great. And we were trying to figure that out last week, and we couldn't figure it out. And we knew whoever helped him out of that hole was in on it. So I agree with you. I think that she's definitely in on it. I don't know to what extent. She did seem surprised about Adam, but maybe she knew he had a boy. She just didn't know it was that boy. I don't know how much he tells her. I don't know if she participates, but it is interesting that she is connected, because in some cases they've had in the news recently in the past couple of years where this similar stuff has been going on, like girls were abducted and they lived, I think, in the guy's backyard for years. This is a true story. The wife knew about it, was helping to cover for the guy. Some really creepy, twisted stuff that actually goes on. So very sad. Marge felt a lot of pity for Hank. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that. I think that they want us to feel sorry for him, but I could also see them flipping the script and that he's doing something shady. Doesn't mean that he's molesting boys, but he may be doing something else shady. I don't know. I really don't know where we're going with that, because yeah, we have more of a connection now, more of a reason why Hank is still a part of the story, because he knew Doug from the woodworking business, but I still don't think that's enough to keep him as a major character. So I still think there is more going on here. So Mark is predicting that the cliffhanger for next week will be Hank dropping down a ladder into Doug's lair after Ben trapped Doug down there. Interesting. So you're seeing Hank as a villain. So here, plus, well, I mean, here's the other thing about that. Maybe Hank helped him, but didn't realize he was helping him with capturing kids and things like that. Maybe he made up a story. Maybe he said, I have this place in the woods where I work on things or whatever, and my ladder, somebody pulled up the ladder and I'm stuck down here. Maybe he didn't explain to him, like, hey, this is where I kidnap boys and molest them. I don't know. But like Mark is on the thinking along the lines that I am, that there is more to Hank than just even this little piece. We got a little more information about him this week. But there has to be more than he's falsely accused of kidnapping, he's the neighbor, and he had Doug do some woodworking at his home. So Brittany hopes that Hank is good. I don't know. I'm really torn with him. I don't know where they're going to go with him. And it makes me really wonder if he is going to be good because of the twist they did with Jane, because I was completely sold on the fact that she was an innocent person. You can go back and watch my chat from last week and probably the week before, where I just was like, oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for this woman. And I said it in my videos, and I went on and on and on. They completely fooled me, which is awesome. That is huge props to the show, because it was never crossed my mind that she knew anything about it. So at that, to me, that's a sign of a great show when, not just when something shocking happens, because sometimes something shocking can happen and it doesn't even make sense and it doesn't fit, but this completely fit, and they, fooled us the whole time. And I guess they did kind of give us little hints and we didn't catch them, because she was suspicious of his shed and what was in the shed, and I thought she was just suspicious because, curiosity, just being a curious person. But she was suspicious because she probably thought he was preparing it for a kid, because she knows. That's right. Thank you, Brittany, for reminding us that it can't be Hank who helped Ben escape or helped Doug get out. Because, again, Hank did not get released until Ben claimed to be Adam. So it's really got to be Jane, I feel like. And, we were definitely looking for who was this person who was working with Doug. And I think we have our answer now, which is cool, because we were trying to figure that out last week. And I told you it has to be someone we know. And wow, how awesome. It is someone we knew pretty well. We just never even suspected her, which I think is really cool. So Anna says maybe Hank will be the hero and see Doug and go into the Warren house next episode and save Ben. Yeah, I mean, maybe they will twist it around like that, where so many people have hated him and thought he was just this terrible person. And that he wants to get better, or that's what we think anyway, and he wants to overcome, his demons. So maybe he will be maybe he will actually help to find and help, the police find Doug eventually and get him arrested and his girlfriend. I don't know, but yeah, I just thought, wow, there wasn't a slow moment in the show this week, and I just thought it was so good. I just love it. And it's what's exciting about this compared to other ABC shows is that usually, and they may end up doing this in the future, but they usually split the seasons up. So we get, half of a season right now, and we get another half like in 6 months, but we're getting the entire first season, I'm pretty sure, because it's pretty long, for the family all together, all at once. And I think it doesn't end until the middle of May. So we don't have to wait. So we should have a pretty freaking good finale next month. Yes, and Anna brings up another good point. Claire doesn't completely trust Ben, but he is a stranger. I don't blame her for this. And she put a camera in Adam's old sock monkey, so she's going to keep tabs on him. I don't feel like that's wrong, because again, he isn't her son. He is a stranger. You just never know. I don't think he's up to no good, but Mark says maybe it was Nina who helped Doug out. Every episode, her role seems to get smaller and less important. They might be leading up to a big reveal that she's in on it. Now, that would be a huge twist. Nina is the main detective, one of the bigger stars in the show. We think we talked about either her or her partner. We know her partner is not the one who's working with Doug now, so it's interesting. Brittany says, love the FBI agent. Why they have to kill him. He even cracked the case wide open and solved everything. So yeah, but still a possibility he's not dead and he's just being kept somewhere. I don't know. It seems like to keep him somewhere is more trouble than to kill him. But the whole thing's a mess. I mean, as soon as she attacked him, she just destroyed the rest of her life, because when you do things to police officers and detectives, you will get found out. So, there's just a matter of time before this woman is found out, and they're going to figure out he's missing very soon. He left a voicemail, I think, for Nina, that he was going to check up on a lead, but I don't think he gave the information. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I don't think he said that it was Jane. So Anna says the woman who plays Jane is Laurie Metcalf from Roseanne's daughter. So Roseanne's daughter, I knew she looked familiar. So, wow, was she one of the older daughter in the show? I can't really remember, because I watched that show such a long time ago, but I was really young, so I don't really remember. But I knew her face looked familiar. So Marge is also getting a bad feeling from Nina. Brittany says Doug was dragging his body across the yard, so I doubt that he's alive and there was a sink full of blood. Yeah, probably not alive. I agree. Marge says Nina's too involved. At the same time, her character becomes more and more distant. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. They've already done one big shocker, and I'd say there will be more shockers. I don't know. Well, here's another good question from Kink asking, what are they going to do with the detective's car? Because is that right? How did I miss that? So did Doug drive detective's car to Hank's house? How did I miss that? She's the Jackie's daughter in real life. Okay. I'm not really sure who that, oh, so she's like the daughter of someone in the show. Does she look a lot like her? Maybe that's making sense now. She's like the real life daughter. Okay, I see what you're saying. Because, okay, now I think that she must look a lot like her because her face looks familiar. So Mark says the body that Doug was dragging was probably just a cadaver from Cece's medical lab. The cop might be alive. Some PLL humor here. I think actually Doug was someone else when he was wearing a mask. Just joking. But no, I did not catch that. Can anyone else remember if the car that Doug drove over to Hank's was actually the detective's car? Because honestly, oh my gosh, if so, right, he's trying to set up Hank, because man, I need to check on that again. So King says when they were zoning out the car was there in front of Hank's house. Zooming out, the car was there in front of Hank's house. Okay, wow. So that's just terrible, because apparently, he is going to try to set up Hank, which is awful because Hank doesn't need any more drama in his life, especially that type of drama. So the preview for next week looked really good because it looked, obviously Ben and Doug are going to come face to face again. Craziness. Yeah, I know. I do. It's hard because I think Hank wants to be better, and I don't think he's doing stuff anymore, and he doesn't want to do bad things, even though I'm not even sure if he's actually done molested a kid. I just think he had thoughts about it. So yeah. And Marge says Hank is weirdly at this point kind of one of the victims in the show, which is true, unless they flip it, but they probably won't, but you just never know. But even though we still have a few weeks, I'm still excited about what the cliffhanger will be for the finale. And I know I shouldn't be thinking about that, but I just started thinking of it last week, I guess, when the show creators were tweeting about it and saying they're going to leave us with this massive question. So who knows what it's going to be, but I'm excited because it's going to be some kind of twist, I guess, bigger than what we've gotten so far, because we still have, I think we have four episodes. Yeah, March, 4 episodes, I believe, left. And I think the end date is May 15th, maybe. I think that is the finale. So yeah, I don't know. I just think it's so good, and I'm so glad that I listened to you guys. You told me to watch it because I think it's great. So Brittany says, I think that Doug could still be Ben's dad. If he's a foster kid, maybe he's the biological dad. Maybe Doug got his rights taken away and he stole him. Yeah, there's still a good possibility of that, because Ben has real parents somewhere, whether they want to work them into the show or not. And if they want to make that a big deal, they could definitely go that way with Ben's dad being Doug, which would be a huge twist. And I love that. And that's going to be really cool if that's true. Because we still don't really know how he's able to go to that foster family's house. Why was he going there in the middle of the night? And they obviously weren't there. And is he going to keep going there? And what's the deal with that? But we also know that the detective realizes now that he is not Adam, because she saw him using his right hand to do everything, and Adam was left-handed. So we know that she's aware of that as well. I definitely hope that this is renewed. You guys know that, how much I love it. Because especially with the type of show it is, if it doesn't get renewed, then we never get anything solved. And that's very heartbreaking. It's bad when a comedy or something gets killed, but when one of these types of shows gets, the axe, then it's oh my gosh, we're never going to know what happens and who is who and who, how they resolve everything. And that would just be absolutely terrible. I just want to mention, if you are new to this live chat, or if you're watching it on tape and you just stumbled upon this because you like the family, I would love if you would subscribe to this channel, because I'm covering the entire season, and as more seasons come along, I'm going to cover those. Plus, every show that I cover on this channel, they are mysteries. I'm currently doing Orphan Black, and I'm getting ready to do Scream Season 2 on MTV. So if you like those type of shows, you might actually watch some of the other shows that I cover on here. So please subscribe if so. So Brittany says that she thinks that the key fell out of Doug's pocket or something. Otherwise, why was the key in the bunker? That's something I've always wondered. But I guess my other question is, did he just have his house key with him somewhere in his pocket when he was kidnapped, or around his neck or something like that? And maybe Doug didn't realize he had it or didn't care because he thought he was never leaving there. Not sure. Because, you know, most kids would have a key usually. Now, maybe Adam didn't because he was at an event with his family and he was going to ride home with them. But maybe this kid needed a key to get in. Marge thinks it's really good. Surprised her because the first article I read that she read about the show was bad. It was on Variety or Hollywood Reporter. Anna says, do I think that Bridie is going to manipulate Willa and Danny by giving Willa the pink penguin? I definitely think the reporter is out for herself. I've said this all along. I don't believe she was ever really serious about dating the brother, Danny, and I don't think she wants to be in a relationship with Willa. I think she's using them, and so far it's paying off because Willa gave her, you know, that information about her dad and the detective, which of course she was using that for her own good or for her mother's own good, but I definitely don't think she's serious. I think she wants to get a huge story out of the family and doesn't really care about them, to be honest. Mark says, everyone says this show is slow and boring. I've never thought that, and definitely I do think that about some shows like Quantico, but no, I've never thought that. We always get answers. They always do what they say they're going to do. There have been some great twists so far. Brittany thinks that she likes Willa, but she's using her more than using both of them more. I agree, and I really think, you know, yeah, she might like both of them, or she might like Willa right now, and whatever, but I don't think, she wants like a serious relationship with her. I think she's definitely, you know, going to use this to her advantage. Marge says the reporter is shady. She was such an important character at first, and now her role is much less important. Honestly, she's one of the characters who I don't really care when I have scenes with her or when there are scenes with her. I don't have scenes with her. That would be awesome if I was on the show. But anyway, yeah, I just feel like she's so shady and don't really like her. Like, I really didn't like Willa, but I'd rather see her now than the reporter. But of course, I can't stand Doug, but he's an important part of this show. So I honestly think that he might get killed or something by the end of the season or shortly maybe into the second season, just because he has a very he's not really played up a lot as having a big role in the show, and he works on other shows. So I wonder if this is kind of just like a temporary role for him and his character will get killed off, because I feel like they don't really play him up a lot and they don't talk about him on Twitter, like the show's creators and stuff. So I don't know. I just don't feel like he's going to be like a big part of the show from now on, but we'll see, because I don't know. This is like one of these shows where I'm not really sure where they go after they catch Doug, or are they going to do a thing where they're always trying to catch Doug and he keeps, you know, escaping them. I don't know how they're going to do that. I remember when I first watched How to Get Away with Murder, I'm like, how are they going to move past this and into another season? And they had to like resolve storylines, and, you know, some people had to die and they had to move on to totally different stuff. So I wonder what's going to happen here. Are we just going to keep continuing with trying to find Doug and his wife or whatever, or his girlfriend, or are we going to resolve that and move on to something else? So it's crazy because the husband and the brother still have not been told that Adam is not Adam. I don't know when they're supposed to be told that, and I felt kind of bad for his dad, because he's like out trying to work with him on baseball and stuff, and it's not his kid. I mean, yeah, that's fine, but I feel like he really needs to know, and he's going to be very, very, very upset when he finds out that his daughter and wife have known for a long time and didn't bother telling him. So Brittany says, love scenes with Doug because it gives answers to how he's doing, what he's doing, and who he is. I definitely enjoy having him. I think we could have more of him. Even though I can't stand him, I really think he's one of the best parts of the show, which is weird to me. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't feel like they play him up or the actor when they're tweeting, because the writers and the show's official Twitter, they do a lot of promotion of the different actors and stuff on the show, but they don't really play up this guy a lot, so it's kind of strange. So Brianna says, when Claire was talking to Ben, asking him to tell her more about Adam, felt so bad for her. I felt like the scene was so real. I thought that was, yes, an excellent scene, and it just, you know, it says a lot about her and her character, because I definitely would feel like she did. Like, I would just tell this kid, like, I want to help you, but you're going to have to leave because you're not my real son and this is just too much. But at the same time, when he told her, he was trying to think of every way to get to stay. And she finally, you know, was like, okay, when he said he could talk about her son, and she was like, okay. And I don't know, I just feel like for her to be able to accept him and let him still live there. But at the same time, it's wrong that they're going to make everyone think he's Adam, I think. So I don't know. So Holly says way late. That's okay for being here late because you can always watch it later. It'll be on my channel. But go ahead and you ask whatever you want. It's fine. We can readdress it. That's totally fine. Anna says one thing that really frustrated her is the night Nina goes out on a stakeout, Claire keeps Ben home. Yeah, but she did kind of find him going to that house, or she's not really sure which house, but she knows it's not Adam anymore, and she knows he's doing something kind of weird. But like her detective friend was like, this is not what we should be focusing on. We should be focusing on finding the person who abducted well, they only think it's one boy, but the abducted Adam. So Brittany thinks that Adam's dad will be super pissed when he finds out it isn't Adam, and Danny will be sympathetic. I think that Adam's dad will probably definitely want that divorce at that point, and he will move out. But who wouldn't be? I mean, can you imagine, like, if, you thought this was your brother and you were so happy, and like, or if your son or whatever, and nobody, and people in the family knew and they didn't tell you, and you kept you kept thinking that this was actually him. I would be just I would feel so betrayed, Mark says, Ben said that Adam died because he got sick. Maybe Doug actually murdered him. Yeah, and I think that's something that we've kind of discussed before, because I do think that Adam was actually sick, but there's no way that that Doug could take him to the hospital, because obviously he would be arrested and everything. So I think maybe he did kill him because he was sick anyway, and there was really nothing else he felt like he could do, which is terrible. So I don't know. I just kind of like thinking, like, what's going to happen with Doug, and what do I want to happen with him? And I was just thinking, like, I'm going to be so happy when they catch him, but then at the same time, what happens to the story after that? And do I want him to go to prison, or do I want the police to murder him, or Ben to murder him? I don't know. Marge is so sad that Adam is really dead. I completely agree, because, up until last week, I had all of the hope in the world that he was alive, until people were telling me that Jenna said that he's actually dead. So apparently, I did not know this, but I guess Jenna is saying, as Brittany is telling us here, that Doug may have killed Adam. That's what she's been saying. Jenna, the creator of the show, has been saying in interviews. So yeah, so you're on the right track there. So I could definitely see that happening. I don't think it's because he really wanted to kill him, but I think that, like I said, he was sick and he wasn't doing well and he needed to see a doctor, and Doug could not take him to a doctor. And so, well, the only other option he felt like he had was to kill him, which is totally, totally wrong. So we have a couple of minutes left here. If you guys have any questions or anything we haven't discussed, go ahead and ask those now. My video where I go deeper into my thoughts about the show, about this week's episode, will be up tomorrow. So make sure you check that out, because I would love that. And for any of you who are watching Orphan Black, or who would like to watch it or trying to catch up, I am doing Orphan Black, which just started last week. It comes on Thursday night, so I do my live chats for that show Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, and my videos go up on Saturdays. So if you're a fan, I would love to see you at the chat or watch the video. And if you haven't watched and you're looking for a show to watch, you have missed 3 seasons, but it's really, really good, and I think you would definitely like it. I would not recommend something that was crap, you know that. So Holly says, whose house do you think Ben goes to? I think that it's a foster house, because there were pictures of lots of different other kids of like different ethnicities. And I think he used to live there as a kid, and the dog definitely recognized him. So I think that dog was there when he was younger. And I just don't understand why the people are out of town or something. Maybe they're on vacation, because he goes at like 2 a.m. Not really sure about that, but I do think there's nothing shady about that. He just wants to visit the place he last lived. Brittany says that Jenna said that he phrased things well. Like, he said that he did everything he could. Like, he could have done everything he could to kill him. I guess maybe like he didn't know what else to do because he was sick. Is that kind of what you're saying? Marge says, don't know if we're going to have an explanation for why Doug captured those kids. I mean, I think it's going to make more sense now why he captured Adam, because he probably met Adam at Hank's house and, liked the way he looked, or whatever was going on in his sick mind. But anyway, do I think Doug is going to be successful taking Ben back? No, I hope not. But, that would be an interesting way to have a twist in the show if he kidnapped Ben again. But Ben's been through so much, and I would hate for him to have to be re-kidnapped again. So it's going to be interesting. I don't really know how all that plays out where Ben and Doug see each other again, but it's going to be interesting to see that happening in next week's episode. So Brittany says Doug told Ben that he did everything he could. Ben thought he meant tried to save him, but he could have. Oh, okay. Now I'm following. So, right. So I remember that when Doug told Ben that Adam didn't make it, basically, and he was like, I did everything I could, but I don't think he did, obviously. And it does make sense that he killed him because he was sick and he needed medical, treatment, and there's no way that he could get that for him, and he probably didn't even really care, to be honest. So absolutely. Well, looks like that's about all we have for today's live chat on The Family. Again, if you think of something that we didn't talk about, or you came late or had to leave early or whatever, you can always leave a comment when this is on my channel, and I come back and I will respond to everyone. So don't forget, I also have my video on this show up tomorrow, so check that out as well, and subscribe please if you haven't. And thank you guys so much again for being here. Holly, I'm going to mention your comment quickly that thinks that Doug isn't the baby's daddy. A couple people mentioned that to me on Twitter last night. I don't know, I don't understand what his deal is with little boys, but then he wants to be with a woman too. Not really sure, but maybe that's just how he rolls. But really don't understand what Jane's deal is, because what the heck? I mean, who stays with someone like that when she knows what is going on, or a lot of what is going on? Like, that woman is just sickening to me. So anyway, that should be interesting to find out. I mean, I don't know. If he's not the father of her baby, what the heck is she still doing with him? Who is the father of the baby? What's her deal? I don't know. We will find out for sure, but she's about to have that baby anytime now too, because she looks super pregnant. So that should be interesting. So thank you again so much for being here. Guys, that I love talking to you guys every week, and I hope to see some of you at the Orphan Black chat if you enjoy that show as well. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you tomorrow with my new video on The Family. Bye, guys.